Afternoon, Subcommittee Chair Bonamici, Ranking Member Cremier, and members of the subcommittee. Thank you for inviting me here today to testify before you. My name is David Baker. I'm a proud Youth Advocacy Council member with the National Network for Youth and a support specialist with the YMCA Youth and Family Services Department in San Diego, California. I came here from San Diego to demonstrate the potential of opportunity youth when given the tools and resources. And to express the value and absolute necessity of federal programs like the Runaway and Homeless Youth Act. I come from a background of intergenerational homelessness, which means my mother was born into homelessness and her mother was also born into homelessness. So access to stable housing was something that my family has never known. The trauma that my mother incurred from her childhood led her to cope with alcohol and drug use. Unfortunately, it seemed there was no place for my mother to address her trauma. The shelter would kick us out for bed rotation at 7 a.m., and it seemed the liquor stores were open by 9. So I would go into school knowing that by the time I got out, my support system would be broken. Due to a lack of resources in our area, housing, financial, and food insecurity plagued my family until at about 16 years old, I understood that there just weren't enough to meet my basic needs, and I ran away. Instead of being a burden to my struggling mother, and this is an extremely common occurrence amongst youth where their living conditions are so bad that they see the streets as a place of opportunity. But what I found in the street was the opposite of opportunity. I found the threat of imprisonment, the threat of trafficking, and the threat of death. Years went by with no diversion opportunities or support offered to me, and I found myself couchsurfing as a freshman in college. After hurdling the barriers to receive financial aid as a homeless student, I bought an old car, and that became my home. The back seat was my bedroom, the front seat was my kitchen, and the San Diego County Sheriff was my alarm clock, waking me up every morning to remind me that my safe place was temporary. I completed multiple homeless vulnerability assessments, but came to accept that there just weren't enough housing opportunities for non-foster homeless youth. Also, I didn't want to enter traditional homeless HUD shelters or programs because the trauma of my childhood, I knew what to expect there. And like many homeless youth, I found my car as a safer alternative. This living situation continued until I received a call just a few days before my 22nd birthday from a TLP through the YMCA. It's amazing to think that if I had just been a few days older, I would have been led to continue sleeping in a place that isn't suitable for human habitation. This opportunity completely changed the trajectory of my life. In this TLP, I found myself surrounded by trauma-informed professionals who genuinely wanted the best for me. For the first time ever, I had a support system that wasn't broken or toxic or damaging to my life in any way, and I was empowered to use my experience as a homeless youth to help my peers, which led to a position within the Y, and today I facilitate workshops across San Diego County that teach youth in our Basic Center transitional living programs to effectively address their trauma. These workshops include skills like emotional regulation, distress tolerance, and thoughtful decision-making, all extremely essential for navigating life with trauma and keeping those kids in their homes. I've also created entrepreneur workshops for our youth that feature a comprehensive look at financial literacy and work readiness. This information was transformative for me, and I'm grateful to be sharing these tools. And it's amazing to see the resiliency and growth of youth in our programs, but I know we're just scratching the surface. There are so many of us who need these programs, but just don't have the access because of the federal investment being so small compared to what is needed. Please know that every dollar that you invest tells a young person like me that their dreams and their goals matter and they're valuable and they should have the opportunity to flourish. When you invest in us, our entire society benefits, and you can see me as a living example of that. Through programs funded by the Runaway and Homeless Youth Act, I was given a foundation to build a life of prosperity. I was given a chance to change my family history forever. Today, I ask you to please make that a possibility for every youth because they deserve it. Before, I was a youth in the street with no resolution in sight, but today I'm so much more than that. I'm a taxpayer, I am an exceptional entrepreneur. And last but certainly not least, I'm an advocate. Thank you all again for allowing me to speak.